So have you ever pulled an all-nighter just to get a little more done? Maybe you stayed up late to finish a massive work project, or let's be honest, you just really wanted to binge one more episode of your favorite show. We have all been there, right? Sacrificing a little bit of sleep in the name of productivity or entertainment. But do you actually know the true cost of those lost hours? Today, we're going to talk about what is literally happening to your brain and your body when you decide to skip to shut-eye. Just to keep this explainer firmly grounded in the science, we're specifically looking at short-term sleep deprivation. A massive meta-analysis by researchers Lim and Dinges defines this as 48 hours or less without sleep. And the crazy thing is, even within this relatively short window, researchers see highly measurable cognitive and physical decline. So we aren't talking about chronic, years-long insomnia here. This is literally just about what happens when you miss a single night or two of solid rest.
Welcome to our explainer on the true cost of sleep deprivation. I am so incredibly excited to dive into this with you today. We're going to take some pretty dense academic research and figure out exactly how skipping sleep impacts you. We'll start way down at a microscopic cognitive level and then zoom all the way out to your whole body health.
All right, here's our roadmap. First, the science of sleep loss. Second, the cognitive and mental impact. Third, physical health consequences. And fourth, strategies for better rest. Section 1. The science of sleep loss. What actually happens to your cognitive variables? So looking at a huge meta-analysis of over 140 cognitive tests, it turns out that simple attention takes the absolute biggest hit. When you're sleep-deprived, tasks requiring basic vigilance just plummet. Think about how dangerous that is in everyday reality. That statistical drop in basic attention is exactly what causes you to zone out while driving your car. It's the core cognitive function you rely on the most just to stay alert and reactive, and it's the very first thing to go. Now just take a look at the sheer volume of data represented here in this forest plot from the Lim and Dinges study. You don't need to read every single dot or line, but just look at how almost all the data points are shifted way over to the left, firmly in the negative zone. It essentially proves that across dozens and dozens of independent studies, the negative impact on your attention is universally consistent.
A lot of people think, well, if I'm tired, I'll just work a little slower to make sure I don't make mistakes. But this meta-analysis completely debunks that myth. When researchers compared speed versus accuracy, they found that both suffer equally. Sleep loss doesn't just make you slower, it ruins your accuracy at the exact same rate. So you aren't actually compensating by slowing down at all. Your brain is just failing on both fronts simultaneously.
And it is not just basic attention. Your other brain functions become major casualties too. Your working memory capacity drops, your processing speed slows down, and your short-term memory recall basically fails. Interestingly though, your basic reasoning and crystallized intelligence actually remain relatively stable. So while you might still be able to understand a complex concept, your brain's processing speed and its ability to hold new information in your working memory are completely compromised. Section 2. Cognitive and mental impact. Let's look at emotional volatility and brain fog.
Drawing on insights from Spire Healthcare and the Indonesian Ministry of Health, look at this staggering number, 60%. When you don't get enough sleep, activity in your amygdala, which is basically the emotional center of your brain, spikes by up to 60%. This massive increase completely derails your brain's ability to regulate emotions properly. It is literally the exact neurological reason why you feel so on edge and cranky after a bad night's sleep.
And that emotional dysregulation creates this massive mental health cascade. And the realities here can be incredibly tough to deal with. You're going to see increased irritability and aggression. Sleep deprivation totally exacerbates anxiety, it can contribute to panic attacks, and even trigger depressive episodes. Surprisingly, in both kids and adults, it can actually mimic ADHD symptoms, like hyperactivity and low focus. And for folks with existing conditions like bipolar disorder, a lack of sleep can severely worsen episodes of mania.
And then, of course, there's the brain fog. We define brain fog as a condition making it difficult to concentrate, make decisions, and properly record memories. This perfectly connects all that academic data we just looked at to your own personal experience. You know that feeling of being completely disoriented, unable to choose what to wear, or forgetting why you even walked into a room? Yeah, that is your brain actively struggling to function without the rest it desperately needs.
So the ultimate takeaway here is this: sleep deprivation prevents you from properly processing your emotions and memories. When you sleep, particularly during your REM cycles, your brain is doing all the heavy lifting of processing what you experienced that day. Skipping sleep
literally stops this emotional regulation right in its tracks, which, as we all know, can easily ruin your relationships at work and at home.
Section 3. Physical health consequences. How your body breaks down.
So, there is a totally unified scientific consensus on how sleep deprivation attacks your entire system. Just look at how the mental impacts on the left line up directly with the physical impacts on the right. While you're dealing with brain fog and emotional volatility on one side, your body is simultaneously dealing with a weakened immune system, hormone imbalances, increased inflammation, and a significantly higher cardiovascular risk on the other. It's a complete system overload.
Now, why does this physical breakdown happen? Well, your immune system is actually most active at night while you are resting. If you're awake, your body just cannot do its basic maintenance work. This is exactly why missing sleep leads to recurrent colds and chest infections. But even more alarming than a common cold, this chronic state of inflammation and hormone imbalance significantly increases your long-term risk for obesity and diabetes.
Section 4. Strategies for better rest. Reclaiming your 7 to 9 hours.
Okay, so adults need a solid 7 to 9 hours, and teens actually need 10 to 13. Building a reliable bedtime routine is your very first step to getting there. Number 1, go to sleep at the exact same time every single day. Yes, even on weekends. Number 2, stop using all digital screens at least 1 hour prior to bed. That blue light actively tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. And number 3, make sure your bedroom is completely dark, quiet, and cooled to about 18 degrees Celsius. That slight drop in temperature physically signals to your body that it is time to power down.
But your daytime habits are actually just as important for nighttime success. You really want to avoid caffeine completely after 12 noon. It stays in your bloodstream way longer than you probably think. Also, we really need to debunk a major myth right now. Alcohol does not help you sleep. A nightcap might make you pass out faster, sure, but it actually destroys your deep REM sleep, completely ruining your memory-forming cycle. Finally, exercise regularly, but try to do it in the morning. Working out too close to bedtime just wires you up. But what if you're just absolutely exhausted during the day? Well, keep daytime naps to a strict 20 to 30-minute maximum. Long daytime naps will only sabotage your nighttime cycle. If you absolutely must rest, set a strict 30-minute alarm. Anything longer than that, and you're just going to wake up feeling groggy and completely ruin your chances of sleeping soundly that night. Now, if you try all these lifestyle tweaks and nothing is working, it is truly critical to see a doctor. You deserve to feel rested, right? You should seek professional help if your sleep deprivation is unexplained, if symptoms persist for several weeks, or if your daily quality of life is severely affected. A doctor can check for underlying medical conditions like sleep apnea or restless leg syndrome, or they can help you out if you're struggling to cope with mental health conditions that are keeping you awake.
And this brings us to the big picture of what we have learned today, the micro to macro cascade. We started by looking at microscopic drops in simple attention and working memory. We then saw how those small cognitive failures basically cascade into massive emotional volatility, a 60% spike in amygdala activity, and eventually whole-body physical and mental illness. It is all connected, and the whole shebang starts with your rest.
So I really want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up today. Think about your routine tonight. Is that extra hour of late-night scrolling or that one extra episode really worth the cost to your brain and body? After looking at all this overwhelming data, I'd say the answer is pretty clear. Prioritize your rest tonight. Your brain will absolutely thank you for it tomorrow.
Wow, we're already at the end of the video. Come on, watch other fun videos too. And don't forget to click subscribe to the BrainBubble channel.